Hello and welcome. I'm Psychic Medium Roberto, and I truly hope you're doing well today. First of all, I'd just like to say thank you for all the new subscribers to the channel, and I hope you enjoy the content going forward as well as what's on the playlists at the moment. And in today's case of true crime, I'm going to be looking at the arrest warrant that was issued on March 17 of this year, 2023. And so just to add on to the show, I'm going to be looking at President Zelensky in relation to the Ukraine Constitution. And I'm going to be looking at the similarities between him and Ukraine. And then I'm going to be doing the same, bringing in Vladimir Putin and his co-accused and see their links to the country they serve. And then we're going to be taking a look at the day that the arrest warrant was issued and to see the impact it will have on the accused. All right, so let me take a moment to focus and tune in. All right, so what I'm going to do first is look at the comparison of Ukraine Constitution with President Zelensky. And then I'll be taking a look at the day that the war began. So who is President Zelensky? He was born on January the 25th, 1978. Gives him the 1 outcome with 777. And then we see the 26, 8, and 7 with the life path 15, 6. Now I can tell you now with the life path 6, this is a very friendly person. Very friendly to connect with. Would really make sense that he connects with these people with those 6s, very important with the connection. And having that 8, the 26-8, he is able to communicate effectively to his countrymen. And with the 7s, he's also able to exact justice for his people. And I would just say, and I'll have a look at the Ukraine date now, that in relation to the Ukraine date, President Zelensky is well suited for the position, very much so. And I would say that he had an overwhelming majority win, and I can see why. Having that life path 6 is very important, very good for connection. And as mentioned, he's got a lot of 7s there. So this man is all about the people, all about justice. He's all about doing the right thing. And with that 26-8, it's about balance. And the balance is what he needs to do for his people and what he needs to do for his country. And he's able to communicate that effectively. We've seen, since the war started, which is just over a year now, that he is able to balance himself in the sheer enormity of the situation. And he's able to do that because of the 1, the 7s predominantly, and he has the life path 6. This man is going to the end of the world if he has to save Ukraine, to protect Ukraine. And we know that his voice around the world has been heard. He has met with the presidents and prime ministers around the world that are helping him, helping the people of Ukraine against this war, or let's call it an illegal war against the people of Ukraine. So Ukraine's constitution, June 28, 1996, we know that it's a new young constitution, breaking ties with the old Ukraine as well as the Soviet Union. And also we'll see that Ukraine has the 6 plus the 1 and the 7s. Now you'll see on the top line of President Zelensky, all in green, matches all in green on top of the constitution there, as well as with the 6. So this guy is well connected with the country. He has the right numbers. He is pinging on the constitution with the 25-7 like he has. And there's the 7 in the end of the day, which he has. So President Zelensky is well suited for the position and definitely very connected with Ukraine. Okay. Now, what we also see with Ukraine, which is you'll see there the 23-5. Now, because of its history, that alerts me to that Ukraine was about bringing communities together, because we are aware that there are still Russian community within Ukraine, but the emphasis on the Constitution with that 23 is bringing the people together, bringing those communities together so that they can have a better life. And, unfortunately, with the outcome 5, it's not going to be easy. There will always be difficulties with regards to the communities within Ukraine. However, the intention is correct in that is bringing people together for peace and prosperity. So I'm liking the numbers in Ukraine, I must say. I'm loving the numbers in Zelensky, doing very well, helping his people, and Ukraine is all about bringing communities together. All right, so if we look at the day that the actual war started, which was February 24, 2022. Now, I'll just highlight some of these elements here, and we'll bring it in when we bring in everyone, okay? So on the day, we have the 2, the 24/6, and the 6. That 24/6 is all about family and friends, communities about to be separated by violence. And what brings about the violence, we'll see that 2022 adds to a 6 as bombs, explosions, aggression. And we know the bombs started falling early hours of the morning, so that would be right on the top line there with that 24/6 as well. And, when obviously the war that was started on Ukraine has created so much devastation on the physical side, but more importantly, it has torn families apart. A lot of the women and children fled the country while the men had to stay behind and fight. And I believe in the case of Ukraine, these men wanted to fight because they believe in their country. Whereas on the other side, on the Russian side, we hear of lots of reports of the men that are being conscripted are actually not wanting to be there. No surprise there, right? So unfortunately, by the sunset of that day, we see families that have been divided through violent means, which is a continuation of the 6, which is the bombs and explosions. Now, what's quite interesting here is the 32/5, right? So I believe the reason to start the war was a lie with a 5, which is all bullshit, deception, deceiving people. And that 32/5 is anti-community. Now, I wanted to point that out because if you look at the Ukraine Constitution, we have the reverse, 2/3 with the outcome 5. That is all about uniting communities, whereas this war was anti-community. So Putin, although wanting to capture the country, was also against the people directly of Ukraine. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight those points for the day that it commenced, and I'll add more when we get to comparisons with the ICC, because in their arrest warrant, what they've issued as a war crime commencement date sits on February 24, 2022. And as we know, it's still continuing today. And then when we bring them all together, I'll have a look to see if we have some kind of end date on the situation. All right, so let's bring in the comparative slide. Now, I've brought in the Russian Constitution on the right-hand side. I've got Vladimir Putin on the right-hand side, and I've got Maria Bulova also on the right-hand side. So Putin as well as Bulova are the two people named on the arrest warrant with the ICC. So I brought them in to have a look here, okay? So we've just gone through a bit of Ukraine and President Zelensky. Now I'll just point out again that on the left-hand side, all in green is the 2 date of births there, right? Now we can see there the amount of connection there is with the president and the people of Ukraine. Significant contact, significant connection for a president. Now, if we look at the right-hand side, Russian Constitution, December 12, 1993, and we know that's the breakaway from the old Soviet Union during the Cold War days. So the Constitution was declared on December 12, 1993, which gives us the 12-3, 12-3, and the 22-4. Now, with the outcome 10-1. Okay. So what I did was with Vladimir Putin's numbers as well as Bulova's numbers, I've included where they are pinging on each other as well as the country. Now, if you look at Vladimir Putin, let's look at him first. He has zero connection with his own country except for the 10-1. Okay? 10-1. So there's really no surprises there because Putin is obviously has his own agenda from an individual point of view, and that he comes from the old Soviet Union era. This man needs to leave that seat soon. Okay? So there is very little connection with him and the new Russian constitution, which is the 10-1. All about people, business, and money. Okay? So Vladimir Putin's interest in the current Russia is only about business and money. As far as I'm concerned, he would care less about his people. Okay, so if we look at his date of birth, October 7, 1952, nothing in those numbers there tells me community, like a 3, a 6 even. It's all about money and the injustice and the violence, aggression in the 8s, very aggressive person. And that 17-8, for me, that 17-8 is all about the stories we hear around the world about agents running around the world, killing other people. That's who he is. 17-8. Very violent person. Not a nice human being at all. Just looking at the numbers. Okay. And of course, there are reports of him being ill. So thank goodness we're in a 7-year. That's all I'm going to say. So the second person on the arrest warrant is Maria Bulova, and she is the Children's Rights Commissioner serving the President of Russia. So she has been named on the affidavit, and she was born on October the 25th, 1984. She also has the 10-1. And that is directly linked, of course, to the Russian Constitution. She has the 25-7 and the 22-4. Now, because of her age, she's pinging more on the new Constitution. So we see the 22-4 matches the 22-4 of the Russian Constitution. All right, so her life path outcome is a 12-3, which pings directly also on the Russian Constitution. And very interesting that she has the row of 4s there. Now, if you look at this without even taking into account where she comes from, what she's done, and for a very brief moment while I was meditating on this, I was just kind of pondering what is happening to all the kids that have been reported being taken out of Ukraine by Russia. And when I started tapping into that energy, I must tell you, and I'm sure you can appreciate, it is a terrible, terrible energy going on. There are terrible atrocities going on by this woman. And in fact, let me not even say this woman, by this person. Okay, let's not judge her by her sex. That being a woman, that she would have a nurturing element within her. Look, she does have the 12-3 about community, about family, but not enough in her date of birth or number says this is a person about children. This is a person about family. No 6s there. Very cold with the 8 and the 4. Very meticulous, very fact-driven, not heart-driven. So that's actually a valid point. Maria is fact-driven, not heart-driven when dealing with children. So the 8 and the 4 bothers me immensely when we hear of reports of kids going missing. And this is why war is a terrible thing. So in relation to Putin, she has the 10-1. She has the 7 and the 8. Almost 2 peas in a pod here. She is the party, what's that word? I'm not such a political animal, but towing the party line, she would be towing that line first for Putin, and I wouldn't be surprised either. So yeah, had she been a writer or an author, I would say, wow, this person is going to be successful. But she obviously got roped into the political animal that Putin is and Russia is. So, look, I'm just going to also put an asterisk here. A lot of Russian people are against this war as well. So this is not an attack on Russia or Russian people. But unfortunately, you have someone like Putin that's not even connected numerically to the new constitution, that is only in it for business, big money, big business, big money. And that 17-8 disturbs me completely. That's the real Putin there, 17-8. Bit of a murderer. And in fact, a mass murderer. So I thought I'd just highlight here, we can see there's a lot of connection between President Zelensky and the Ukraine constitution, whereas there is only one connection to Vladimir Putin and the Russian constitution. That is all about Putin. All right, so let's have a look here. So I'm going to bring in now this slide. Now, on the left, we have the International Criminal Court, founded on July 1, 2022, where we see the 714. Now, those are beautiful numbers, 714. 7 is all about justice. 1 is for the individual. 1 can also be the union or group of people. And we have the 4, which is all about facts, okay, which is very important when obviously dealing in the criminal court, right? So we have the 8 and the 4 and the 12-3 outcome for the International Criminal Court. Now, once judgment is passed in that 7, a sentence is handed down and communicated through the 8 based on facts. And that 12-3, if you are found guilty, you will be arrested. Absolutely. I love those numbers with the International Criminal Court. As mentioned in previous episodes, it's always important to have the people in place or the organization that people work for to have the correct numbers that are needed for that position. All right, so I've also added the prosecution application when they filed the application for the warrant, which was on February 22nd, 2023. Okay, now that 22.4 is very important. That's all about justice, facts, figures, bringing the law together, bringing all the information together for the purpose of justice. 7, right? And for communities in the 2 as well, gives you the 6 and the 7, and that is bringing action to Russia, as well as the people involved with a 13-4 outcome, death and endings. Endings and beginnings. All right, and then the significant date, the arrest warrant was issued on March 17, 2023. Now, it's quite ironic that it's issued on the 17th, which gives us the 17-8. So justice has been enacted on Putin on his 17-8 for the crimes that he has committed through that 17-8. It is official. If he steps into any other country that are signatories, they have to arrest him. Now, that's going to be another story on its own, right? And what's interesting here is the outcome 11-2 and the 7. So we see a law, 11-2, was broken. Or in this case, so we see a law was broken by the number 3, which pings directly on Maria, and the 17-8, which is Putin. Okay? And the opposite of that is the ICC is taking law into their hands for justice, for the purpose of justice in the 7, with the outcome 18-9. Now, I must say that 18-9 outcome of the day, it's a good number. It's good for what its intentions are. But I just wonder if it's the right outcome to get the desired outcome, which is getting Putin arrested and Maria arrested. Now, of course, they can only be arrested if they step into signatories of this International Criminal Court. So I just wonder, so the 18-9 has been communicated, law has been broken, or law is going to be enforced for the injustices caused by Putin and Maria. All right, so I must say the 18-9, it's almost token-like, necessary, but token-like. So we wait to see what the actual outcome will be on that arrest warrant. But of course, we know these Russians, Maria and Putin, will hide behind the Russian curtain for the rest of their lives, right? So we'll look at other means and ways of exacting justice for these characters. Now, what's interesting here is if we look at the International Criminal Court, the 7-1, the 4, the 8-4, 12-3, it's almost identical numbers, in fact, pretty much identical, and pings directly on Maria, because the arrest warrant is for the kids that have been taken out of Ukraine, and God only knows what's happened to many of them. And I try to tap into that energy, and to be quite honest, it would be detrimental, and I'm really picking that up already. It is so dark, black, negative energy. Shame on this person, Maria, and Putin, of course. So all the numbers of the International Criminal Court ping directly on Maria. So she is in severe trouble and pings directly on her. So she best watch how she moves around going forward, because I can tell you now, the minute they get an opportunity, she will be arrested. And of course, we have the 7, 1, 8, and 8s that ping on Putin as well. So he is not free of this judgment either. There is enough pinging on Putin and the International Criminal Court for him to be worried. And of course, with his arrogance and hiding behind Russia, or staying in Russia, he's not going to be arrested that way, obviously. So, and that's why I was just worrying about that 18-9 outcome. It's it has to be done, of course. It has to be done, because some action has to be taken, or at least get the wheels of justice turning, so when the time comes, these people are going to pay the consequences. I don't suspect Putin will ever get arrested. He will die before he is arrested. That is guaranteed. And that 16-7 tells me something. We are in a 7-year, and there has been rumors about his illness, and this is the year. This is the year, and I would say if the illness is as serious as anticipated being, by next year, I wonder if I should put my head on the block for this guy, but I would say by next year, with the outcome 8-year, I would definitely say by 2025, Putin will be no longer. 2025, Putin will be no longer. So that's good news for everyone, I guess. And of course, once that happens, the House of Cards will come falling down. And I believe some of the people that are involved with this war in Russia will be brought to justice. And who's ever going to take over next in Russia? Just having a look at the Russian constitution now, with those 12-3s, they, as tough as Russia might be to the outside world, they're obviously very tough internally as well. And I believe once the presidency changes, the people that are involved in the war or were pro-war are going to be brought to book. That is in the Russian constitution. I can see it. They are going to be brought to book. So, in times of war, people flourish out of ill-gotten gains, but there will be justice. There will definitely be justice for the people of Ukraine, as well as for the Russian community that did not want to go to war, because there was no reason to go to war here. This was all about lies, deception, and bullshit. And Putin is going to see the end soon, within 2 years. I don't believe the arrest warrant will be exacted on Putin. However, Maria is in deep trouble, highly under threat. And I just wonder, was given an impression now. I don't think she's going to be around for much longer either. I don't think she's going to be around for much longer. Maybe a year or so at the most. Because we've heard about some of these ministers in big business all of a sudden falling out of windows conveniently. And I believe she's going to meet the same fate here as well. Huh? Something to that effect within the next year, I would say. And Putin within the next 2 years. All right, so yeah, the arrest warrant is necessary, but I feel it's a gesture in the right direction, and it puts everyone on high alert that these people are trapped behind the Iron Curtain, as it were. And I do believe justice will come to Ukraine, and I do believe Ukraine will be able to build themselves again. Now, it's a big question, of course. I've been asking, when is this war going to end? And I believe the answer to that, unfortunately, is the war will end when Putin ends. The war will end when Putin is no longer president. All right, let me know what your thoughts are. I do read your comments. I'd love to read your comments. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit that notification for future uploads. And I will just say stay safe, stay alert, and I'll see you in the next one.